you could do it. All you gotta do is put your mind to it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Black Millennial Finance, where we focus on building up our money and mindset. Today I have a very special video where I'm going to be sharing my journey along the path towards financial independence thus far. I discovered the FIRE movement about 3 years ago, and that was when I decided that it was something that I wanted to pursue. So I would just like to share the highs, the lows, and all I've learned thus far on the journey. Okay, so let's start off with why I was drawn to the FIRE movement to begin with. When I was younger, I didn't think that work was so bad. I didn't understand why adults complain about going to a place. I'm like, it's only 8 hours of your life. But then I started working full time and I understood exactly what going to work for 8 hours, 5 days a week entailed. And I know myself, and I cannot see myself doing this for 40, 50 years. I just cannot. It is not in my spirit.
Oh, hell no!
So when I heard about the FIRE movement and saw that there was a possible way to save more money, to invest smartly, and be able to retire earlier, I was all in. Another thing that really drew me to the FIRE movement was the idea of buying back my time. The idea of having all this freedom. So I'm the person who has a lot of ideas. I am an active member in my community currently, but I can just imagine all the things I would be able to do if I did not have to go to work 5 days a week, 8 hours. There's just so much I want to do within my life, and working in corporate does not allow me to live the life that I envision long-term for myself. So I want to be able to give back to my community, and that's one of the reasons why I also love the idea of the FIRE movement. Another reason and another thing that really drew me to the FIRE movement was the idea of financial freedom and having an option to put your money. There are going to be certain causes that only you see. There's going to be certain people in your life that you will be able to impact. And I feel as though if I have the resources, the financial resources to be able to touch lives in those different ways, that is what I want to do. I've always been a person who cares about giving back to the community and donating, and I feel like being financially secure will allow me to give from an overflowing cup and really be able to do the best work that I can. So that was another reason that drew me to the financial independence and retire early movement. I want to be able to craft my life more on my own terms. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff. The goals that I was able to accomplish and the wins that I was able to get because I discovered the FIRE movement and because I was able to implement some of the strategies and the practices of and the pillars of financial independence. So one of the wins I was able to accomplish since discovering FIRE was really working and focusing on my debt and debt pay down. So I was able to pay off my student loans. Okay. I'd always been the person who would pay money towards my loans. Even when I was in grad school, I would put $60 towards it because I knew that interest was coming and I knew that I had to pay this back. I just thought it might have taken me 10 years to pay it back. By following the practices of the financial independence movement and being more intentional with my money and my spending, I was able to pay back my student loans in 4 years. Specifically, most of that payback happened in 2020, which was a crazy year, but I was focused on paying off those student loans, especially since we had that interest payment pause. It gave me the extra boost to be like, okay, I need to put more money towards that. So since discovering the financial independence movement, I've been able to pay back my student loans. So another thing that I've been able to do since discovering the FIRE movement is really focus on my car loan. So right before I discovered FIRE, I had bought a brand new car, which is something that a lot of people say not to do because of how much it costs over the term. I remember going into Honda and signing that deal to get a car, and I will never forget this number. It was
$23,123.23.
And as soon as I drove off the lot with that car, I was like, what did I do? I literally researched and Googled if I could return the car. You couldn't. So it would just seemed like I had gotten all the student loans. I was just learning about financial independence and all the people who were retiring early and how they were able to save 70-60% of their income. And I'm like, how am I going to be able to save this much money if I have these student loans and this car loan? So I wanted to return it, but I kept with my car, and in the last 3 years I've been able to pay about $13,000, a little bit more since it's interest, on my car, and I have about $10,000 left on that loan. So I've consider that a big win thus far. All right, so another win that I've gotten since discovering the FIRE movement is I've been able to start a couple of side hustles. So I didn't really understand, or I didn't know that there was this whole world of passive income until discovering the FIRE movement and seeing that people were making money off of a variety of their skills and their talents. I thought I just had to work my 9 to 5, but discovering the FIRE movement allowed me to see ways where people were making money off of doing things like DoorDash, doing things like Uber, doing things like walking the dog, getting a second job, passive income such as Etsy, real estate, all of those things. So for me, my hours, I work the standard corporate, have to be in the office. So it wasn't really possible for me to do a couple of side hustles. So I really wanted to do something that would make it that would be more passive. One of the ideas that I got was to open an Etsy store where I could sell printables. I wanted to do this because I didn't want to be in charge of packaging something and shipping it to somebody and them saying they lost their package in the mail. So printable seemed like something that was that would be good to start. And I started this about a year into my financial independence journey. And so I just started a store, which was a store that sold bachelorette games and drinking games, things for people to have fun with their friends. Well, actually, when I first started, I made no sales. I probably made 0 sales like for the first 2 months. I probably had like 1 sale a month, and it was pretty discouraging. And I was kind of thinking like, why do I even have this? But slowly sales started to trickle in, and now I'm really proud to say, if you check out my side hustle videos, I'm consistently pulling in about, I would say, like 150 to 180 on my Etsy store #1. And after about like 8 months of opening Etsy store #1, I had another idea, but it was completely different than bachelorette games. So I opened a second Etsy store that focused on a different niche of something that I cared about. Now I'm gonna change this up a little bit, what's in my shop. My second shop sells primarily shirts. I designed the prints, I put it on a shirt, I partnered with Printful. It's actually really great. They delivered the shirts to individuals, so I don't have to go to the post office and mail off anything, which is something that I love to remove myself from. I love passive income because I don't have a lot of time, and I need to be very wise as to how I'm utilizing that time. So my second Etsy store is probably bringing in around $200 a month, and I'm very grateful for that because it allows me to pay for my YouTube editing. It allows me to also donate money to a lot of organizations I care about. So I call that a win. All right, so another goal that I was able to accomplish since starting the financial independence movement was I was finally able to save enough money to put aside a 6-month emergency fund. To me, this is a big deal because I've been trying to save up for 6 months of an emergency fund for years. And really being able to stay focused and put aside money for this goal was very crucial, and especially in 2020 when we had some job scares. So I am very fortunate to have been able to put that money aside, and my goal going forward is to grow that to a year of savings. So that's something I really want to do. I feel as though the FIRE movement has opened up my eyes to a world of possibility. Some things that I'm hoping to do now that I've known that these options are possible for me is to really get into real estate. I love the idea of passive income. With my Etsy store, I woke up this morning and I had 5 sales, 5 different downloads, and I love making money while I sleep. So I really want to get into real estate. I want to be able to buy properties back home. I would love to buy a property in Mexico. I would love to also own a couple of properties here in the United States. So that's a goal of mine that I didn't think was possible until following some people in the financial independence movement. And now it's something that I want to do for myself. So another thing that I want to do is increase my income with my Etsy stores. Like I said, I have 2 Etsy stores, 2 completely different niche of people looking for things. One is shirts for organizations. The other one is bachelorette and party games. I would love to be able to grow that income to $500 a month. If I can grow that more to even a higher dollar amount, that's even better. But that one of my goals is really to get it to $500 passively each store. I think that would be great, and it would also allow me to do a lot of things on my goal list and really be able to move funds and support the things that I care about. Another thing that the FIRE movement has really made me focus on was increasing my income to my 9 to 5. My 9 to 5 is where I spend a lot of my waking hours, and I want to be able to get the certifications and get the skill sets that would increase my income while I'm in corporate America. I'm not planning on having a traditional career where I'm working at a company for 40 years. I hope that I can escape in 10 years, maybe 15 years, but I know that I need to have a higher income. So what I'm working on is getting some certification. I work in data analytics, so that's working with SQL, sometimes SAS, depending on what programs the company has. So I want to get a SAS certification. I also want to learn AWS. I want to learn Python and R because I feel like that would make me even more competitive out in the job market. And I know that is one of the ways to increase my income is getting these certifications and being able to be a top candidate. All right, so one of the questions I'm often asked is how did I calculate my FIRE number? And how do I know how much money I will need to retire? Well, with everything, it is more of a calculation, also a guess, because you can't really predict the future and you don't know what may happen. So the way that I was able to calculate my FIRE number was to decide or kind of guesstimate how much I think I would be spending a year in retirement and multiply that number. For me, I multiplied that number by 30, and that is how I got to my financial independence number. The traditional advice is to multiply it by 25, and you'll hear a lot of FIRE bloggers, a lot of FIRE people talk about the 4% rule and multiplying their annual spending by 25. I multiply it by 30 because I need that buffer. I know that if my family needs help, I'm going to be one of the resources for that. And so my number does not just encompass myself. It encompasses me being able to also help out my family and also being able to give back to my community. So my FIRE number is a little bit larger, and it just buffers in for incidentals and whatnot. All right, so another popular question that I get asked a lot is what are some resources if somebody wants to pursue FIRE or thinks that even if they don't want to retire early, if they want to pursue financial independence, what do they go to and how do they learn? I would say one of the people that I love that are in the movement is Our Rich Journey. Our Rich Journey is one of the couples that I really love. There's a wealth of information on their channel to get you started. If you're into podcasts, and these individuals also have websites as well, I would say His and Her Money has been one of the channels I love watching. I love listening to the payoff stories, the debt payoff stories, and hearing about other people's journeys and what they did in order to achieve financial independence. I would say Journey to Launch is a great channel as well. So is So Money. That's also a really good one. Her Money with Jane Chatsky is one of the creators that I also love. I cannot make a list without mentioning Brown Ambition. I've listened to every single episode of that podcast. Is one of my favorite. I love Tiffany and Mandy. And another favorite of mine that I've listened to every single episode as well is Paychecks and Balances. I get so much value out of that podcast. So I would definitely recommend that you check those out. I know I made an article a while back on my website where I published all of these different podcasts and financial independence people that you can follow. And I'm not listing everybody right now. There's so many great people to follow that you can really find a niche and find somebody that you can relate to whose stories can help you be inspired on your journey. So I'll list that information down below so you can check out some of these great financial educators and get some great resources. Like what I'm thinking right now, like A Purple Life is a really great site that I love reading. Another great site is Money the Right Way. There's so many and I will forget them all. So I'm gonna make a list, have it linked down below so you can check them out and start the journey. So I've been on my financial independence journey overall for 3 years, and these have been a really great 3 years. I am so excited to see what the future has for me. I really hope I have the opportunity to reach this FIRE goal. Tentatively, I think I have 15 more years left in order to reach my FIRE goal. Now, this is just me doing a very, very conservative estimate. This is me like my income not increasing at all, being able to hit that FIRE number within 15 years. But I know my income is going to increase because I'm planning on increasing my incomes and increasing my income streams. So I do believe I can hit that number faster, but at the latest, 15 years is how long I plan to work and invest in order to hit my FIRE number. If you love this video and love this series, please consider subscribing, clicking the like button down below, and leaving a comment. I would love to know how your FIRE journey has been thus far, what you've accomplished, what things you've learned, and how the movement has been monumental to your life. Thank you and have a great day.